All right, we're back, and the stakes are threatening to raise, Toaster. We had
one could hope.
We had a very spookums encounter, and now that has to be leading somewhere, right?
No, actually, the rest of the story is going to be them just having a really boring vacation for the next 27
real life.
days. Yeah. One kind of weird thing will happen, and people will go, wow, man, that was really weird.
And then it becomes just a centerpiece discussion you bring up every now and then.
Yeah.
Wasn't it crazy how like a fox yelling, a fox shouting in the woods sounds a lot like someone being murdered? Crazy.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of our trip.
That was so weird. We all almost died. Anyway, and then they play Jenga for 21 days in a row.
Like a conversation akin to the level of like how sunburned you got on that trip.
Pretty sunburned.
But no, that's what happens. The title screen, the itch.io page promises that there will be choices and people will die, but it's really just you just get melanoma.
You get a little bit sunburnt, and it has consequences 48 years down the line.
Yeah, that's it's that level of the. You got to go back with the morphogenetic fields to undo being in the sun a little too long in a day.
Put on sunscreen, Akane. Put on sunscreen, and it's all foreshadowing that it's in the desert.
We definitely brought this up in the last session anyway, but somebody sent me Zero Escape fan art. So yesterday when we were on a boat with Stephanie and Andrew, it reignited Zero Escape discourse for a while. So some of these synapses are recently reconnected.
Yeah, everyone it has Zero Escape on the brain. Kidnapped and Akane pilled.
I don't even know how it happened exactly, but just a whole subset of all the new furry viewers have been rediscovering our Zero Escape videos, and mixed results.
I feel like there's a pretty wide overlap between people who want to read furry visual novels and people who want to listen to other people read Zero Escape.
Yeah. Just be forewarned, we had a reaction to those games that is somewhat counter to the popular narrative where they're genius or whatever. But that's for a different time. In the past, it's dead to us now. The end. Despite going to bed relatively calm after talking to Dean, I didn't sleep well. I was up early, my body telling me that I'd had enough rest. Not that I hate that. My personal struggle every week is that a couple days I'll just wake up way too early and it's like, we're done. I'm like, no, we're not done. We're gonna fix this. I'm gonna lay down for an hour trying to fix this, because if you don't fix this, this is gonna be a problem all day. And then at least once a week I just get to live with that. Not that I felt rested.
Yeah, I could sleep forever if you don't stop me, so
I hate you.
Can't relate.
I hate your bullshit where you just can sleep and then you sleep for like 12 hours a night and then you go back to sleep in the middle of the day, and I'm like, what the why are you speedrunning life, Toaster? Life's worth being awake for.
Alternatively, life is also worth sleeping through.
No,
because I'm well rested sometimes.
we need an intervention for Toaster's sleeping.
I like sleeping.
The sleeping problem.
I'm a comfy, eepy boy. I get to lay down in my warm bed and sleep. Yeah. Catch some sun rays. It's all good.
Stephanie also can just sleep in any scenario and then sleep through anything. Like, sometimes you'll be planning a session but she's tired because of all of her many jobs and things she's juggling. So she'll just kind of fall asleep in the middle of the day. And unless you want to make a real storm in the house, try to wake her up from outside of her room, there's nothing you can do from the other side of a door that will wake her up. So that's just like, that's it for today. Never mind. Time to reschedule. Not that I felt rested. My head was still spinning. I let my eyes wander the bedroom I'd claimed as my own. No, you were assigned it, but it lacked the familiar comforts of home. At least I don't think he claimed it himself. The house was giving me an odd feeling. Was it the vault? Was it the lack of staff? Was it something else? Also, alright, in one of the comments, I did not have time yet to read the comments on the premiere, but at least one person said definitively that no, they did not win it in any kind of sweepstakes or win it at all. It was just some kind of comment that said something along the lines of like, this is some kind of miracle or whatever led to this trip. but they didn't win it. But
Gotcha.
I only read like one comment, and it was that one. So if they're wrong, it's their fault if I'm wrong now. So this is going to be a recursive wrongness potentially, because I did not. I was away while the video premiered. I didn't have time to read all the comments yet. So potentially new data. Unless
I'm just gonna say, hey, if they didn't win a contest, then when the rewritten, remastered version of this game comes out, they should win a contest. So, and if they don't, then the game is bad and it's poorly written, and that's my call out. So
this was sarcasm for those of you that struggle with that.
Yeah, that was a joke.
The house was giving me an odd feeling. Was it the vault? Was it the lack of staff? Was it something else? Even then, what was hiding behind the door? Was it something important, like Roswell thought? My thoughts raced through my mind as I could hear other things going on in the house. Or at least I assumed that's what I was hearing. Rolling over, I wondered if it was worth taking Dean up on his offer and grabbed my phone. It was early, and wondered if my paranoia was worth bothering one of the others. I'd already started flicking through my contacts, having made up my mind. All that was left was deciding who to message. I'm getting mixed messages here a little bit on the idea that he's made up his mind, but he's making up his mind still. And I think we've nudged at this before, but just like I don't love the use of him like having these like bad feelings where he kind of like panics and just kind of like keeps implying something's wrong. Because I kind of just want something as akin to a lot of horror stuff. I think something worse should have just happened by now in an ambiguous way where you're like not sure what to make of exactly what it was, but something that would give you more reason to be nervous.
Yeah.
In particular, the fact that there's just a locked door in an Airbnb is not unusual, even if it is a weird wood like vault because it's a crazy mansion. Like, we are genre savvy, so we're like, oh, that door is fucking important. But the characters in the universe being thinking about it too much without any reason to yet feels weird to me. But also just pacing wise, something would have happened. Something happening by now would just be a good start.
Yeah, like I mean, I've been in a million like Airbnbs and like fancy rented out places, and like you're gonna run into things like rooms that look like they should have furniture in them but don't. Rooms that are locked. Like just a house that doesn't belong to you is inherently kind of creepy. So
but a house that doesn't belong to you, that's designed for you to stay in, stuff has been set up to keep you out of certain things is the point.
Yes. Well, what I was gonna say is like it's interesting that you have like an inherently creepy setting and an inherently creepy idea, but instead of just letting it be kind of creepy and weird and being like, yeah, like whatever, the game just keeps being like, here's a description of a creepy thing. I feel really creeped out for some reason. And it's like, you could just not say that. It's okay. We were there with you for the description of the thing. Yeah,
have them stumble in on the weird room that they can't decide if it's a sex dungeon or a torture room, and like, haha, that's a weird room anyway. Like something more substantive is like can like set things up a bit more, and give them something to react to, as opposed to kind of like self-awarely nudging at the idea that like and this is just a thing with furry visual indie visual novels in general, is just like a thing where there's a struggle to pace the beginning before the plot starts happening. And this one's tied to a particular day-to-day calendar schedule thing, which invites like some akin to Deadly Premonition. There's choices to be made about how to make that calendar interesting day-to-day, including the beginning. I imagine you want to text Sal.
He's my favorite so far, but I mean, who do you think he would? Who do you think you would message right now?
I mean, I think we're currently trying to just like. Sal might be a cool boy. What can like you warn him like Joel about the shit that you're feeling about like the bad vibes in this place, and Like, he might be able to get stuff done, potentially, is a juxtaposition I can do. Roswell seems useless.
Roswell seems useless. The other person that I think just wouldn't have anything to say is Haas. I just don't like what's Haas gonna say.
I don't think Haas would do much. Roswell should be the most useful person to talk to about this because they're the most connected to the setting, but either he's completely oblivious to where we are and what's going on despite having a familial connection, or he's pretending to be, which is also bad. They're both bad reasons to talk to him in this situation. Orlando means well. Tyson seems to be your bully boyfriend that could do stuff. Dean feels like he might not take you seriously and be kind of patronizing about it, but it's hard to say because I'm preemptively guessing. Yeah, but we can Sal route.
Let's do Sal. Let's talk to Sal.
Sal was grounded. While of few words, he typically knew what to say to bring things back under control. I typed out a message and hit send. The reply came almost immediately, making me blink in confusion. For a moment I wondered if I'd passed out and only came to after some time had passed, but no, it seems Sal must have had his phone in hand. His reply to me said to meet him outside, and given the time he was likely up to his morning routine.
Up to do his morning routine? He was likely up to do his morning routine.
Yes.
Someone was mentioning in the comments, they said, hey, if you notice that the speech patterns are kind of weird, it might be because the writer is Australian, so he'll sound weird to Americans. And I've been thinking about that all day, being like, no, I don't think that's why it sounds weird. I think it sounds weird because maybe they forgot to use commas in some places.
Yeah, it's just indie writing in general. I think I don't know if I mentioned this in this playthrough or not, but I think often about how, like, when John Green is very transparent about how many people are involved in writing a book and how many other people it goes through before, like, from the original author in the editorial process and so on. It's like, so writing a whole thing yourself is a nightmare, and any quirks in your writing style and so on are going to become really apparent to a lot of people really fast. Yeah. Although I do wonder how much feedback writers get in the furry fandom space, given some of our other experiences we've had, where it kind of sounds like people won't really react to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if anything, it's a good sign that the game is getting this, like, potential remaster, is like this idea of just having like an actual edit pass to kind of correct some of that means that there are going to be more eyes and more focus on cleaning up the text, which is definitely a good thing. I think every furry visual novel could really use that level of polish.
It's a good loop to do after you've finished the game. Yeah. Because the inherent issue with trying to write any long form story or making a webcomic or something is that you always want to, as you progress, you keep wanting to go back and fix the earlier stuff that you now have a problem with. But if you start like looping, you'll never like actually finish the thing in the first place. Yeah. So it's definitely a thing. It's like akin to like how there's like rumblings in the background of like, should we, like, what would you, like, to the point where like they've straight up just like tweeted about, like, I think Red tweeted it, was like, what would you like to see in a rewritten Carl route? Because Carl's route is always seen as the weak point of Echo, and they clearly are very like directly contemplating the idea of like, should we rewrite this part of the game? And like now that Echo's done and revamped and like even like revisited already, like that's when you can like consider that kind of change. But rewriting the beginning for pacing issues, for example, while it has obvious onboarding perks, like there's going to be, like, to be frank, like there are going to be people who drop this playthrough already because it's just kind of taking a while for something to start happening. But if you worry about that too much before you even finish the game, then you might just never write the rest of it.
Yeah, completely.
Like I get it on some level. I got dressed, still in a daze as I left my room. The house was quiet and dark as I made my way downstairs and outside. Sure enough, Sal was waiting for me as I stepped outside, gesturing me to follow. Can't get over the people.
Yeah, every single time this background pops up, my eyes immediately shoot to them. It looks like Sal's looking at them right now.
Are they behind me? Right now?
He brings us out to the pool and he's like, I also encountered something really weird. He points to the humans.
Yeah, I'm also uncomfortable with something that's happening right now. I've got a bad feeling about this property. We stopped at the pool, Sal opening the gate and holding it open so we could both pass through.
Lay down.
What? Where?
Lay down on the chair.
He gestured to one of the poolside chairs, and I lay down. Suddenly I felt like I was at the therapist's office with how Sal sat down on the one beside me. Like this?
Roll over.
I was gonna say, he clearly he wants to give you a massage. That's why he wants you to lay down. You did not read this correctly, Dave. As I rolled over, Sal got back up and straddled the chair, ooh, placing his hands on my shoulders. Right as I opened my mouth, Sal dug his fingers into my shoulders and neck, massaging them and making me moan softly in his grasp.
Ooh, nya.
Yeah.
Relax. Talk.
Easier said than done as he worked his magic, but as the stress started to fall away, I was able to bring my thoughts back into words. So, this house, does it seem off to you? You know, besides the part where it's a completely, wildly disparate human experience to be in compared to anywhere else you've ever been in your entire life, because it's a mansion. But you know, besides the part where it's a mansion resort with humans in it.
Off how?
Well...
The lack of staff.
I'll show you staff. Yeah, that's one reason.
And the other?
Well, something just feels off. He pulled away, sitting back and letting me roll over so we can face one another.
I wouldn't worry. You're safe.
I shifted uncomfortably, unsure of what to do with my hands. Am I? What if something bad happens? What if...
Then we'll protect you.
You'll protect me? I saw Sal's cheek flush for just a moment before he cleared his throat. He leaned in, eyes locked on mine before I felt him roughly jab my chest.
You're soft.
Without another word, he stood up, peeling his shirt off and wandering closer to the pool. He looked over his shoulder at me, smiling again as he kicked off his pants and dove into the water. He moved gracefully in the water, but now that a lot of my troubles had been put to rest by the reassurance I had one, if not multiple bodyguards. That's an example. I returned to my room to rest up for breakfast. So to address, I know there's too many sidebars this early in a video, but to address a potential blind spot in what we discussed, it's possible that the constant bad feelings are because he's supposed to, actually be experiencing something unusual, maybe he has some kind of, possession, for example, or extrasensory experience or something. But there are more concrete ways of hinting at that in a way that something's like to go to Echo. There are experiences that Chase has that are experiences that we see more viscerally on a combination of sleep paralysis or nightmares or daydreaming or just strange experiences that have descriptions that are in themselves an event, even if they didn't happen, which is the ambiguous part. which is a way of giving us more than just saying he feels weird. And that's so that would give us more to go on to whether or not he's actually, this is leading up to and like foreshadowing something with him specifically, or if it's just like something's gonna happen eventually in this narrative, so let's give the protagonist bad feelings. Like I don't know which one it potentially is. I just know inherently from the fact that the store page promises death that definitely stuff can happen in here.
Yeah.
But just saying bad feelings a lot doesn't give us as much as one of those other options does. Much like the first night, I was the last one to arrive at breakfast. And once again, I had free call of who to sit next to. Free call of these two people.
You pick the stinky boy you wanna smooch on.
I do like to spend time with Tyson. I'm just more curious about Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
But this is of course always like a self-perpetuating dynamic where the person you keep interacting with is the person you have more to go on, obviously. But every time we interact with Dean, he's just horny in the same way. Whereas Tyson has some kind of ongoing... I just want to unpack Tyson's dynamic with the group, because that's like the most interesting character dynamic interpersonally so far in the overall group. Like everybody has opinions about Tyson. Dean is practically a background character besides his constant flirting with us, as far as the other characters are concerned, with their relationships with Dean, as far as we know. At a glance, it seemed Tyson was well rested, if a little bored. Figured he might like the company. Morning. Morning. Sleep all right? Been better? Yeah? Who? Yeah. Who's underperforming? Oh, wait. No, just had trouble sleeping. Not like you'd tell me anyway. Had you pegged for someone who likes a bad boy anyway? None of the guys match that. Turned over a new leaf, have you? Except me, pup. But you're out of your league on that one. Of legends, I've got the gamer gene.
Ha.
I can never stop thinking about that fucking line of the video. This one video I said that's just like, fucking, have you heard about the gamer gene? Tyson, have you seen that one before?
No, I have not. I have no idea what you're talking about. You sound like a completely unhinged person to me right now.
This is a cesspool of YouTuber drama, but it's Patricia Taxon's response video to Rags, who is just one of the worst. But it's getting down to, like, if you make the argument that video games are just inherently more appealing to men than to women, which is a constant thing that shitty people make based on, in rejection of all actual data, they'll be like, just women just don't like video games for some reason. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why they play them more than men, huh? The men, that like the constant, like, women provably enjoy video games, even if you can argue about genre or whatever the fuck. But like, when you get down to it, there's just the fact that, like, you have to actively ignore social pressures. Like, you have to be, in order to make that argument, and you don't want to acknowledge any kind of wider cultural things about, like, how people are treated in certain spaces and why they might, like, gravitate away from those spaces into other spaces because of how they're treated for being women in those spaces and so on. If you don't want to acknowledge any of those elements or potential sexism and things like that, then you're ultimately making the argument that there is a genetic predisposition for or against being a gamer, the gamer gene. That's ultimately what it has to be.
And we know Tyson has that gene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the brain rot I'm on. All right. Tyson started to grab food in front of him, stocking up his plate and tucking in. With how fast he was eating, I could have sworn I was sitting next to Dean. Whoa, hungry much? Hey, free grub. Good free grub. Well, yeah, but aren't you gonna get sick eating that fast? Nah, I know my limits. Did you get some food in you, though? Gonna take a look around. Figured you might want to come. Sure. Don't have any other plans for today. Great. Ty's sudden outburst caused everyone to look his way. Not that it seemed to really bother him all that much. Maybe he was just lonely? Riding the enthusiasm, Ty got up and left. Figured that if he was already on his way to check out the place, I should probably follow. You're wondering if the guy who everybody here hates that you brought as your +1 when you don't spend time with him might be lonely. Huh, Dave? Huh?
Well, I mean, when you put it that way, you make him sound like kind of an asshole, Keith.
Yeah. Oh,
Dave's just trying to have a good time.
I just imagine if, like, Stephanie didn't know you guys, and I brought her to Las Vegas FurCon, and then just left. She's just, honestly, she'd probably figure it out. But like, imagine doing that to someone. Like, and I say that's literally the comic I'm writing about right now is literally that happens. That's the premise, is that fucking somebody brings the main character to a furry convention and they're not a furry and they don't know anyone there, and then they just leave them. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Why would you? Ah! You've had a look around the place, yeah? Could say that. Anywhere you recommend to kick us off? Actually, before that, need to head back to the room. Without waiting, Ty starts jogging up the stairs. Alright. So now that you're here, not gonna mince words, Dave. Ty began to pace before sighing, giving me a hard stare before continuing. I came because you invited me, but I think you made a mistake given who else is here. I'm thankful, don't get me wrong. But I think that, as a whole, you should have picked someone else. Well, I get what you're saying. The two people in my internal monologue sure have it figured out. Not as if you can head home now, right? Is this a pre-Uber timeline? What year is it? No one could possibly.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly if it was stated what exact year this takes place in.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how much, like, obviously, just how obviously it's a bad idea for Tyson to be here, and I'm actively thinking, like, the fucking, like, storm shutters that lock them in and force them into a death game or whatever happens in this game better start real soon, because I feel like Tyson would just leave after a few days, right? Like, why would he be here for
He's
30?
not having a good time.
Yeah, like, he's not, that's something you have to reckon with the idea that we're just in a mansion in real life, and they clearly can go outside because the story keeps happening outside. So, like, something has to trap them here soon. Otherwise, someone's gonna leave. Like, it's either it'd be like a supernatural, like, Silent Hill problem where, like, literally, like, the world doesn't exist outside past the first 50 feet. It's like the others or whatever, or like a threat has to be introduced, like the Resident Evil dogs, or the doors just have to literally just, like, bar them in suddenly, and, like, the fucking like Zero starts talking on the intercom about the death game they're stuck in. Like, something has to explain how they're trapped here soon, or someone would eventually just leave. Like,
no,
I can't
don't understand, Keith. They're trapped here by the dangers of social obligation.
I can't imagine any 30-day trip with, like, 8 people on it where one of them doesn't go home early, unless it's, like, in Spain. Like, you're trapped in a different country or something. Could call a cab or something. Well, yeah, but that'd be stupid expensive. Besides, why not just make the most of it? Could just spend the month training or wandering the woods. Okay, could call a cab in that you could call a cab to the train, and then the whatever form of not expensive transportation could take you most of the way home. You don't call a cab back to your home state or whatever the distance is that's applicable here.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, that'd go down well. Something tells me spending the whole month in a dark basement is a little sus. Okay, so we know it's not that long ago. Because he's saying they're doing Among Us slang. Like that. I know suspicious was a word, but we didn't talk like this until, like, the pandemic. So what's the alternative? Well, I ain't apologizing. Well, ideal scenario then? I don't get on well with them. We're different people, and that's okay. Besides, you can keep me company, so it's not so bad. Oh, I was gonna actually spend the next 27 days with Sal.
Sorry, bud.
I'm fine with that. Well, if you're sure. Still, what are you planning on doing today? Gym all day? Nah, still want to have a look around. Which room should we start with? Well, you've got the basement covered. Just Jackson Pollock in there. Anything good upstairs? Have you heard about the greenhouse, but for humans? It's like a room that you wait in. Whoa.
It's a room with all windows.
Let me give
crazy, man.
Let me give you the whole rundown. It's an infomercial, this ass. There's like, I guess you'd call it a reading room. Here we go.
Oh my god! Every time.
the fixation is really funny. I like it as a running gag at this point. Books? Pass. It's kind of a study/museum combo upstairs. You know, the one with all the books in it. Bunch of old stuff to look at. You make it sound like a field trip. Go check out the games room upstairs. Almost looks like a casino. I could get behind that. If anything, might make some quick cash. I don't expect the abandoned casino to be a source of income. Was it pre-stocked with money for you to get? Like,
yeah, there's a bunch of money just like buried underneath. I guess you just gotta get in there.
Yeah, it's like a stocked ATM for you to just walk up to on your trip. You like to gamble? Well, sorta. Guess I'm lucky, I guess. Better at placing bets on hands of poker or blackjack. Tried sticking away from slots. I'd probably go and check out the gym after, either way. Want to work off breakfast at some point? Or want to work off breakfast at some point? Alright, sure. The two of us left the bedroom, Tyson leading the way and sticking his head into the open door he could find. Any open door he can find until we found the games room. Well, well. Ty went over to one of the slot machines, resting against the wall, and gave the lever a whack. More like a casino than I thought it'd be. Why'd they have a setup like this anyway? Like, what's the point in a slot machine if you own it? Any money you put in, you'll just get back. But if you had friends over and like to quietly steal from them, just slowly vamp out their dosh. Still, you'd still be on the, you'd still just be stooging money off of your friends. What if it pays out too? You're just gonna give money away like that for free? Well, I guess if you're rich enough to have a place like this, maybe money isn't just that big of a deal? Must be nice. Yeah, I think there might be a few hints that somebody might be, the person that owns this place might be wealthy, Tyson. It's just every element of everything.
It's so funny.
Still, what else is in here? Looks like they have a projector set up. Yeah, apparently there's a bunch of video games rigged up to play off it or something. Oh yeah? According to Orlando, at least. Didn't go into any details on how any of it worked, and I just didn't bother investigating over the last 2 days. Still, suppose that's something, right? Ty went over to one of the cabinets, rifling through the things sitting on the shelves. Don't see any games in here. Couple books, spare controllers and stuff. Controllers mean games though, right? At the very least a console. You'd think that. Tyson spent a bit more time rummaging before coming over with a folder. Think this might help. Let's see. Catalog of the games room. Access to the main TV and attached devices is done by the control panel inside the cabinet shown. Looks like there's a hidden panel or something in the cabinet over there.
Imagine not just trying to open it immediately.
Yeah.
Instead of...
Well, it's just I'm confused by it's like the usual struggle if you go to somebody else's house and try to figure out there's 7 remotes on their coffee table, but instead it's like an escape room.
Exactly.
You have to solve an escape room just to play a video game in this room. I'll go have a look. I wandered over to the cabinet Ty pointed out, and upon looking inside, there was a panel with a bunch of buttons and switches. I flipped a switch, and immediately a section of the wall slid aside to reveal a large screen. Oh, hey. This sort of looks like a TV? Sort of. Not quite. There's just something for the image to project onto. They just dressed it up a bit. I do feel like if you have a hidden panel that reveals something behind the wall, it could have just been a TV. Like at that point, you have space for it. I don't know if the projectors are just worse than most things, unless you're specifically like having a full-on movie theater projector in a movie theater that is actually set up for exclusively that. But like a hybrid gaming room with casinos and like other competing lights and so on, and windows to the outside world. I'm like, I don't know if just put a screen behind that panel at that point. That you want your own light source. Tyson pointed up at the ceiling where the small box seemed to be pointed at the wall that just opened up. That should be the projector. Must have come down when the wall opened. Don't remember seeing it up there a minute ago. There's a couple other switches here. Should I press them? Don't see why not. Besides, if you break anything, they should have made it less fragile, right? Was that your approach to all the other kids growing up? Is that why everyone hates you, Tyson?
Yeah.
Should have been less fragile, noob. Didn't have the gamer gene. Well, I don't really want to have to explain why something's broken when we've only been here a couple days. Well, move over then. I'll do it. I already get blamed for everything anyway.
Exactly. He's just like, whatever. I'll jump in. I'll do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't hate on Tyson too much in this regard. He does seem to be the only person in this group so far that's been trying to find something for himself to do.
Yeah.
Like, Dean literally went outside and looked at a greenhouse for a whole day.
And that he savored it for a whole day so he could go check it out the next day.
The two characters that are like doing, like just trying to mind their own business and have a good time are Tyson and Sal. And no one's riding Sal for being antisocial.
Yeah. I mean, Haas is being antisocial. He just sits in the reading room all day and is like,
no, but he's a diva, so that is inherently everyone's problem.
It's just like, damn, look at all this lighting. I could hypothetically read in this room. Let's think about that for 2 more days while I sit here.
I guess Orlando is sort of cooking. Orlando just doesn't do anything. It's unclear what he's up to.
To be clear, I'm not trying to be hard on the game. It's just that they set up this 30-day schedule and they can only commit to writing so much per day, right? Because otherwise it'll take forever. So it's just rife for comedy when we check in for each character for like 30 seconds and like they've seemingly done almost nothing because they're trying to like fill out the 30-day calendar for the plot to happen. So like it's like we're kind of treading water a little bit. It's just incredibly funny that Dean seemingly did not go in the greenhouse for 24 hours. He just looked at it. Like, unpacking that is hysterical. And yeah, like without the if you don't write in a hook of like, or not, that's not the right term for it, but if you don't write in like a thing that happened like into like, oh yeah, and then Dave sat down with Orlando and they played video games for 6 hours and that's what happened with today, it ends up implying that Dave like walked in on someone working out, walked in on someone being like, whoa, a reading room, Walked in on someone swimming and held their towel for a minute. Now the day's over. It's dinner time. I'm like, whoa.
And then the next time we see them, the only thing they've been doing was the last thing we saw them doing.
But like moments like the fact that there are video games, unless the video games are going to be like a plot point later, and like, oh, the video games are. It's what a play.
The autosave says that no one was in here, so your alibi is wrong.
Yeah. Like unless the video games are like a load-bearing thing in the plot, that is like a good hook to use to explain how time passed so much, as opposed to like him zoning out or whatever. You could be like, oh yeah, Dave played video games with Orlando for 6 hours, and that's why it's dinner time now, as opposed to like the moment where. But like I know I'm not like freaking out over it, but it's just like a head-scratching moment of like, hang on a minute, how is it dinner time? And I think that's just going to be a thing we just are going to see throughout this, potentially.
Definitely.
Without waiting for me to move, Ty shoved past and started flicking switches. First the screen came on, then a few of the shelves, and following that screen, had a list of games pre-installed and ready to play. Not bad. They got Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort.
Wow, they even have the little tennis racket add-on.
Whoa.
For the Wiimote. It makes it more real.
Link's crossbow training. I'm sorry, Wolf Link's crossbow. Wolf Link's crossbow training. He's Wolf Link in this universe, and it's still called Wolf Link.
And then he turned the annoying collectible sections. He turns into a human.
Oh yeah? Check out how many games they've got. This is probably a custom rig of some kind. I don't think mine at home can hold this many. You have one of these? Well, one of them. Seems like they have one of everything and have them all running at the same time? Wow. That's
they have a supercomputer that is also a Dreamcast and an Xbox? Like, what?
Only a supercomputer could emulate a Dreamcast. I don't know why they'd all be running at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Wonder how they're doing that. Gonna try to do it at home? If I get another console, sure. Sure they won't mind me if I help myself. What? You gonna take one of these home? Yep. Yes.
Gamer.
Yeah, he's got the gamer gene. he's taking home the shampoo bottles and candy bars, except it's a fucking PS5.
Yeah, he's like, I'll take the Dreamcast, whatever. They won't notice.
They're too rich to notice. It's like,
so wait, this does pose the question of like, this house was like unoccupied before this. It's like a estate. It's like a museum estate, kind of, is what it was kind of set up to be, at least so far it seemed. Like, it's like this place for the staff that takes care of it, but no one lives here. So why do they have a bunch of video game consoles?
I'm not clear if no one lives here in general, or if they're just not here right now for us to be here. Or more specifically, I'm unclear which one's the cover story compared to whatever the fuck happens here.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Now you definitely just have me thinking about that thing you guys talked about, where like they just had like some bunker and kept just inviting more and more of the friends and family of someone into one place.
Oh,
and just,
the Nightmare Expo video I watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a shout out to Nightmare Expo. He's not watching this because he has better hobbies.
He could be. Maybe he is now.
But his Lost Media Volume 2 episode was really good, and it came out like a week ago as of the time of us recording. Watch that if you like creepy stuff.
Yep. Not gonna miss one. Wait, not gonna miss one? You're gonna take all of them? What a nightmare beast of a man.
I think he's saying he's just gonna steal one because that's how much he can get away with.
Oh, they're not gonna miss one. Right, that makes way more sense. Actually, I thought you were saying he's not gonna miss one of them. Like, he's just gonna get every single one.
He just walks out with a PS2 and a PS3 and a Sega 32X, and
just walks right past that otter on the way to the bus they all have to share with a tower of consoles, and that otter just raises his finger like
Well, I mean, if they pass by an otter, they can just stuff all the consoles inside of it, because that's what otters are for.
Otter space.
They carry a lot of stuff. It's a bag of holding.
We're not explaining this joke.
Don't Google it.
They're not going to miss one lousy console. Well, thankfully, outer space will just because it's a good pun, will just automatically autocorrect to outer space. But that's stealing. You can't steal from the rich, Ty. They earned what they have. And don't fucking tell anyone. But look, if you don't want a guilty conscience, don't watch me steal it. You already told me. That's enough.
Nice. I've turned around completely on Tyson, and now I'm 100% on his side.
No, he's great. Hell, I won't even steal it right now. Jeez, you're such a buzzkill. Well, you've ruined the mood
Tyson,
now.
Do it.
Let's go somewhere else. Oh, okay. You've ruined the mood, and now we're incapable of playing video games because on a separate topic, you were not okay with the idea of me stealing them all a month from now. I just can't. I'm looking forward to the next 20 days of them visiting the video game consoles and visiting the reading room, but never reading or playing a video game, but just thinking about it. Tyson stomped out of the room without another word. Still, despite me being the reason he was being sour, he ushered me to follow. We passed Roswell in the foyer, which is a word that I feel goofy as hell saying every time. Like, I feel like I'm being annoying whenever I look at a word spelled that way and then pronounce it that way. Like, I'm the asshole. Like I'm Tarjang a normal word.
Oh no.
It bothers me every time, and I just had to finally mention it. And this has nothing to do with the game at all. It's just every time the word foyer comes out, I get mad.
It's okay. It's okay, Keith. You're just pronouncing the word correctly. It's all right.
I know, and I hate it. We seem to be he seemed to just be standing around, almost waiting, which we're gonna pretend is suspicious in his case. But everyone's doing that.
It is completely in character for him.
It's in character for most of the characters so far is the issue. Ted just stomped on past towards the dining room, paying Roswell no mind.
That was close. He didn't look happy at all.
Yeah, that was my fault. We were upstairs in the games room and,
Huh?
It doesn't matter. Still, games room's pretty cool. Based on that, it is a room that hypothetically contains playable games, but we haven't verified that yet. Check
you
it
can
out
play
if you
every
get the chance.
game in there, but we got too nervous and left.
Yeah, they're so rich, they even have the never-released Link's Crossbow Training 2.
Wow.
It was only made for a horrible red vertexed console.
Oh, then I should maybe. I can't even remember if that's the right voice.
It's
I don't
something
know.
like that for Roswell, yeah.
I got food poisoning last week, folks. I'm sorry. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I can't remember my voices.
Yeah, no, we had to cancel most plans last week because Toaster was physically dying.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Speaking
Maybe
of,
after lunch?
and then I'll get food poisoning. I'll be out of the plot for a while. Oh, yeah. We're getting close to then, aren't we?
Yep. I was going to go on ahead before... Well...
Don't worry. I get it.
Oh, well, that's a relief. Don't know what I'll do, though. Standing out here until the others arrive seems kind of weird, don't you think?
Well, if it were me, I'd just go into the dining room anyway.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I mean, Ty's just Ty. I get that he kind of looks like he'll pick a fight with whoever, but he's no right guy.
Especially now?
Trust me.
Well, if you say so. You're coming too, I guess?
In a bit. Gonna go get something from my room first.
Alright, well, I'll see you when you get back then.
You're going to your room before lunch? I thought you were going with Ty. Isn't that what was happening?
He did kind of just go like, maybe I'll go to the kitchen. Yeah, you should go to the kitchen. Wait, Ty's there? Yeah, I guess we can go with Ty. Anyway, bye. I'm going to my room. Kind of weird.
I wandered upstairs, heading to my room. He just went back upstairs? Wait, I thought we came here to go with Ty, and we just like ADHD'd so hard because Roswell was standing weird that we forgot our status as a person today. Also, every time that anything is, the fact that it's described as that Roswell, like I guess it was kind of followed up as him potentially just being socially awkward and like feeling weird about the idea of going to into the dining room early. But the moment he was standing weird and it was pointed out that he was standing weird as opposed to everyone else, I'm just instantly like, one more hash mark on the reasons I'm suspicious about Roswell. I'm just like, I have picked Roswell as being the villain of this game until proven otherwise. I think he's
gonna be the Ash of this game. Like halfway through the game, we're gonna find out that he's like an android who's been employed by the company to make sure that the xenomorph gets delivered back. Like that's where he is
I was like, who the
in my
fuck is
brain.
Ash?
Oh, from Alien.
I was like, Pokemon, Overwatch.
No, sorry. I realized that was an inspecific reference. I didn't mean to be like that. He's gonna be an android who is like, beep boop, company order now, must procure the xenomorph, and then like tell us all that we're expendable because the demon he summoned or whatever is more important to the corporation.
It's just that he's connected to the location. And he's seemingly how this all happened, but also he plays coy with vital details in a way that's like strains believability for his character. So it feels like he's just lying. And so anytime that anything stands out about his behavior, I'm like, that's just another data point. Like I just don't trust this character. I think he's up to something. But that's purely. It's not because he's done something super suspicious in a vacuum. It's just that we know something's up, and preemptively going into the game, something has to be up.
Yeah.
Seeming as though everyone else was out, though, no one seemed to be in their room otherwise. Seeing as though everyone else was out, though, no one seemed to be in the room otherwise. Okay. When I got to my room, I noticed that things seemed different. Nothing major, just... Has someone been in here? Like the people that... Like the caretaker of the house that we know is here? I changed my shirt and went back downstairs. It seemed as though nothing was missing. By the time I went back downstairs, though, everyone seemed to be hurrying to the dining room. When we all arrived, though, we just dumped Ty's plans, but he's just here. Okay, we were going somewhere, right?
Yeah,
like,
but...
Yeah, we and Ty were going somewhere, and... Yeah, okay, I'm not... I'm just... Really, anyone could have heard the yelling as they approached, but entering made it all the worse. It seemed as though everyone heard it, as everyone else filed in close behind. What are you calling a dog, pig?
That's...
Roswell and Tyson were on opposite sides of the table. Tyson snarling and hunched over one of the chairs, looking like he'd jump over it. What's going on? That porker called me a dog.
You are a dog.
I think he's a wolf.
Yeah, which is a dog.
I don't think he's fond of that choice.
Well, I don't care.
Cool. You're not real to them. Unless that's a plot point, who knows?
I didn't, I swear.
Roswell made a break for it, hiding behind Sal. Tyson was right behind him, stopping shy of Sal and snarling up the mass of crocodile in his way.
What happened?
Sal looked back to Roswell, opting to address him rather than the wolf in front of him, making Ty back off in a huff. No one's hurt, right? You didn't, you know, finger in and loop of other hands in and out. Every time anyone says, you know, I think that's what they're like. I imagine them making that gesture because of how often that's what the implication. Ty looked like he was about to explode, eyes bulging out of the corners of his mouth turned downward. By comparison, Roswell was meekly clinging to the back of Sal's shirt, using him as a physical barrier. I needed answers, and I didn't like the idea of the two of them fighting. Maybe it was just a simple misunderstanding. I looked between Roswell and Tyson, clearing my throat. Who to ask? Reconcile.
I don't like Roswell at all, so.
Yeah, but we're asking who to explain what happened, I think.
Yeah, so ask Tyson. I don't want to hear Roswell's dumb take.
Oh no. Tyson, what happened? Asking Ty must have calmed him a little, as rather than seem full-blown rabid, he now was only mildly frustrated. Well, he shot Roswell a dirty look before looking back at me, hands still balled up in fists. Called me a dog to my face. Lupus, I'm a wolf, damn it. I don't go play fetch. No sooner than, angry Roswell face. Have we seen that before?
No.
I didn't know he was capable of that one. No sooner than Tyson had spoken up, Roswell stepped out from behind Sal, stopping his feet.
I told you, it's Canis, Lupus. You're still a canine.
See? He's doing it again. Oh, Tyson's stupid. Okay.
Yeah, he's just dumb.
Yeah.
He's just a big dummy. Oh well.
Ty pointed at Roswell, shooting me a desperate look. I wonder if this is what it's like to have children. I wasn't like this as a kid, was I? I still consider you a kid.
Yeah, dude. This is what you're fighting about? Really? Yeah, guys, there's plenty of other reasons you could be fighting, and you chose that? Really? Like, what else, Hoss? You're not helping. What the fuck?
Yeah, the implication, the problem isn't here that you're fighting, it's that you chose poorly on topic. Like, people are dying.
Tyson's just making trouble again, it seems.
Ty did a double take, looking between Sal, Haas, and then finally to me. I wasn't sure what he wanted me to do, and maybe I realized a little too late that he wanted some backup before he bailed, disappearing down the hall. I seemed to be the only one watching where Tyson went, everyone else checking in on Roswell. He was the smallest of the group, and the youngest, so maybe there was some obligation to make sure he was okay first. No, it's because they don't like Tyson. It's not... Dave, none of them like Tyson, and also he was in the wrong, so... He's seemingly the oldest, and in the wrong, and the big guy, and no one likes him, and everyone is specifically friends with Roswell out of everyone here, maybe more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just that they disliked Tyson that much, they didn't care how he was feeling. There was every chance Ty would be fine given his space, but...
No, but also he is just wrong.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's okay. Like,
yeah. We should chase after Tyson to tell him how dumb and wrong he is, but he needs to know.
Like, you don't need to belabor the point, but also...
No, we should shame him.
Just don't be
for
an
how
idiot.
Dumb and bad he was. I mean, we're doing Tyson route, kind of, I guess. Or Tyson / Sal, since they're both...
It just like hasn't given us an opportunity to hang out with Sal, but at the same time, maybe giving him space allows us to. I don't know.
There's like tiers of characters where everyone is on a list together once per day, and then Tyson and Dean are on a list together other parts of the day most of the time.
Yeah.
There might be like interlocking routes going on. I don't know. each day seems complicated under the hood. Like it is impressive on some level, like what's going on. Like I'm like slightly scared of how many variations of scenes there might be every day. It's just the lack of and then we did that for 6 hours element that makes the days weird. Like today we went to breakfast and then followed Tyson to the games room, didn't play any video games, walked back downstairs, and then had dinner. Like this, we're all here for. Are we here for lunch or dinner? Either way is too fast.
I assume it's dinner. Yeah.
I think they might have said. I think Roswell said he was about to have lunch, maybe. But any meal is way too fast. All we did was check out the casino for a few minutes and not do anything in it, and then come back downstairs, and it's another meal already, and that's freaky. But the variability could be really neat. It's like it's both. What two things could be true. Anyway,
I just noticed how many settings this table has.
Oh yeah, no,
Why
this
would
table
they set
stresses
this
me
many?
out.
This table is too big for how few people are here.
Yes, the table is too big for how many people there are before it's horrifyingly claustrophobically crowded with this many plates, to the point where every part of the curve has another chair on it. And it's scary. Like, it'd be funny watching everyone spaced out over this giant table, but every inch, like this is a real life room, and I'm mad at the people who made this room a reality in real life, whenever that was, because there is not a single inch of space. It's just plate to silverware to plate all the way around the entire table. Like they had to make like a wall, like an outline for something. Like they had to make like a it looks like a frame to a photo. Like it's so overcrowded. Like it's terrifying to me. Those rooms I like in this building, I do not like this room. I don't like whoever made this room. I have a personal vendetta against them now, but we're gonna have to chase after Tyson next episode. See ya.